The 417Gamers is a group of board, tabletop, and card gamers in the 417 area code. This is the podcast. The 417 Gamer podcast was recorded and produced by Rick Bagwell and Andrea Smith. Our intro music, Kind, Gentle, Beautiful Person, and our outro music, Making Up for Lost Time, was created by Origami Replica. For links to the music and show notes, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. Tune in to our March 20th episode, the expansion to this one. But until then, keep gaming in the 417. Welcome to the 417 Gamer Podcast. My name is Rick.
And I'm Andrea.
In the 4, we discuss 4 games that we've enjoyed recently playing in the 417 area. Andrea, I'm going to kick us off with Paris Connection. You got to play this with me.
I did, with some new folks at Metagames.
We did. Paris Connection is an older train game published by Queen Games. It is designed by, try to pull up the design real quick, John Bower. And when was it originally? It was originally published in 2010. It's a light stock game, train building game. You've got 6 colors of trains: purple, black, yellow, blue, red, and white, maybe? Regardless, on your turn, or to start the game, everybody gets a few trains sprinkled behind their shield, and those act as your stocks in the game. Mm-hmm. Then on the rest of the trains that are possible in the game are divvied out to their boards. Blue goes to the blue board, purple goes to the purple board, so on and so forth. It's not white, it's brown trains. Sorry, sidetracked. Anyway, on your turn, you can either build trains, or you can trade in one of your trains for 2 of a different color. When you're building trains, you're building into the countryside and the country of France. You start in Paris, and as you're building out, you get to build up to 5 trains. And if you connect to small towns, that color train bumps up 1 point worth of stock. If it connects to a medium, it goes up 2. And if it connects to a big, it goes up 3. So, each time it bumps up, if it's the color that you have behind your shield, those trains are worth that many points. But at the same time, if you want to exchange trains to grab some more from those depots to put behind your shield, because that's the other action, you can put 1 from your shield on the board and take 2 from a different color. So you want more of those behind your shield, but at the same time, you need some to help build their value. But then if you start building your value too much, then the other people start taking them too.
It was interesting because a lot of train games, it's got the little plastic train pieces, kind of like Ticket to Ride. Mm-hmm. But the train pieces you use both for building out on the map and for keeping behind your board as the stocks. Uh-huh. There are no, playing cards. You're just using the train pieces. So you have to decide if you want to hoard them for the stock value or if you want to put them out to make the stock worth more. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting.
Very easy teach, very easy play. Plays 3 to 6. I really think it plays best 4 to 6. We played it with brand new people. Somebody that just came out to the group her first night. Mm-hmm. And then a couple that had been out a few times, but I hadn't been able to sit down and play with them except for their very first night.
Yeah.
And it was great. Everybody was able to play the game, have some fun, and we got through it twice. It plays quick.
They liked it enough they wanted to play it again.
But yeah, Paris Connection, that's designed by John Bohr and published by Queen Games.
And it's in a little box, so it's easy to keep with you.
Yeah, it's in a standard box. Mm-hmm. Andrea, you were going to talk about
Gizmos.
Yeah.
So it was my first experience playing Gizmos this month. However, you have told me that this game has been around for a while.
Been around for a little bit.
Even though I had never seen it or played it. There are marbles that come in this big tower, basically. Mm-hmm. And as you take marbles out of the tray below, more will fall down. You can only take marbles that are available. So if there's a color you're wanting and it's not available, you can't take it unless you have a card that allows you to take one from the reservoir. There are cards that allow you to do different actions, like you can, if you play a red card, then you can take 2 blue marbles or so on and so forth. It gets a little, a bit of a chain, like if you can get a red card that says play this red card, if you get a green card, and then you get a green card, which lets you get 2 marbles, and if you get 2 marbles, that lets you use them as any color, you have to pay attention to all of the actions that your cards let you do, because it's easy to forget, because once you get a pretty big tableau of cards in front of you, if you're not paying attention to all of the actions that each card that you've taken lets you do, it's easy to forget an action, and then you could easily lose the game if you didn't use all your actions.
Yeah, this was published in 2018, so it's been out 6 years now. Designed by Phil Walker Harding and published by CMON Games. I knew this was going to be up your alley once I played it, because you like your engine building games. Mm-hmm. You like Terraforming Mars, you like Splendor, you like Arc Nova, stuff where you can get your tableau of stuff and it starts building, getting more and more, getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
So in this game, you have a big machine. You start off with a tiny machine that has like one little gizmo on it.
Yeah.
And you can do, I think it's 4 different actions. You can pick, which is pulling one of those marbles you just specified, which are different types of energy. Mm-hmm. Blue is atomic. Yellow is electricity, red is heat or fire, and black are batteries. You use those eventually to build other gizmos. And so you can either pick, you can build, you can archive, which is taking one of the gizmos that's in the display that you can try and build and save it for yourself for later. And then there's research. Research allows you to take from one of the face-down decks, draw X amount, and either, if you have room, archive and save it for yourself, or build, or just get rid of it.
I will say the one disappointing thing about this game for me is that despite the name, there are no actual gizmos in this game.
Well, that's what they are.
You
have a big machine, you're putting gizmos in your machine.
No, they're just cards with words. I expected actual gizmos.
I gotcha.
But the marbles are real.
Yeah. The marbles are real. And we have the second edition. The second edition has a plastic base with a cardboard top to it. Works pretty well, but you have to jostle it sometimes. Give
it a shake.
Give a little pop on the side. Like, give me some marbles. But
it's true.
Excellent little game. The next one I'm going to talk about is Kemet, Blood and Sand. This is designed by Jacques Barreau and Guillaume Montagne. This is published by Matago Games. This is the newest version. It's the 2021 print. I had the old that came out in 2012. There's new things I like. There's new things that I'm not 100% sold on, but I think it is a better version. Kemet is a dudes on a map game. It's a dudes map game. If you're not attacking, you're not winning. So you play until somebody gets 9 victory points, and if they still have 9 victory points by their or the winning amount, they have the winning amount on their next turn, and nobody has more than them, they win the game. The way to get victory points is either to take temples, to win fights, or take other people's cities that have been fully upgraded. And then there's also the Temple of All Gods, where you can go sacrifice your people overnight to get points. That's basically the 4 ways. There's a 5th way. You have power tiles. Everybody starts with 1 power tile that's drafted at the start of the game, but by large, your figures all do the same thing. Whenever you have a fight, you have strength equal to how many guys you have in the fight. But once you start buying the power tiles, it changes. Now I can have extra. Now I've got a scorpion I'm bringing into battle. You might have a sneaky snake that negates my scorpion. So the tiles start changing everybody's makeup. So by the middle of the game, you start looking and finding out who's the threat. And then, like a lot of battle games, the game starts to, not balance itself, but kind of. You know what I mean? You see that guy that's getting really powerful, and everybody at the table is like, oh, we're going to hit him. Mm-hmm. Or her. Because in our group, when Catherine plays those games, she's absolutely a threat, and she'll stomp you if you... Yeah. So, the change in this one, the previous Kemet, if you had 8 points going into the night phase, and nobody was tied with you, you just won. Mm-hmm. So it put a premium on the person that was going last. So you can see what everybody did first, and if you were the last one in that turn, you could either save the game and keep it going, or you might be able to snake out that last extra point to get ahead to get the win.
Yeah.
This one was harder to do that, because if you have the win, then everybody gets one more turn to either take some of your temporary points away, or build them some points to pass you. Because by the time it gets back to your turn, if you had the win...
Could be gone.
Really like it. Love some of the changes. The minis are excellent, especially the monsters and all that stuff. The power tiles, there's more colors. The original game had red, blue, and white. And they changed it to gem colors, and I understand, because the tiles were red power, blue power, and...
Oh.
Yeah. See, you already got that. So now they're sapphire power tiles. They are ruby power tiles.
Nice.
There's onyx, emerald, and there are diamond power tiles. So it sounds a little bit better. Although the white tiles, diamond tiles, had economics on them. And one of the tiles was slaves.
Oh.
So it was a double hit on the head, and they've changed the names and they've changed some stuff around.
Good.
Yeah, the game is still there. It's still mean. It's still ferocious. It's still, you're in everybody's face within a move or two. But love the game. Kemet, published by Matago Games. Andrea?
One of the games we played is Trambahn,
Yeah.
which is basically a little card game where it's another train game, but it's all cards, no trains. You have... The cards can either be on one side, they are a train valued 1 through 9, or 1 through 10, I'm sorry.
Yep.
And on the other side, they're worth money. So you can either choose to use them as train cars or save them up for money. The reason you need the money is to buy the train stations. And
Well, that's actually your trains. You have the stops. You're putting stops on the rail line, and you are buying your trolley to go to those stops.
Right. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I guess in my head, I just consider them train stations that I'm parking my trains at.
Yeah.
But anyway, you buy those and you try and put your cars in numerical order 1 through 10. The higher numbered ones, I think 8, 9, and 10 are worth more. The 1, 2, and 3 are only worth 1 point apiece.
Yep.
And every time you come to a scoring round for a color of the trains, which I believe there are 4 different colors, you score up how many you have at that one depot, basically. And like I said, 1 through 3, I think, are only worth 1 point. Middle value is 2, and the highest value, I believe, is 3. You can put jokers in to fill in gaps. If you have the 2, 3, but not the 4, you could throw a wild in there, but they're not worth any points themselves.
They are not.
However, if you get a full run of, I believe, 8 or more, you get a bonus scoring round for that color.
Lonesome.
Yeah, where the other player doesn't get to score.
Because if you do score a color, everybody scores.
Yeah.
So if I put that blue card on there and it, you have the central tableau in your place on your turn, you have to place 1 or 2 to the central tableaus. Mm-hmm. There's a yellow line, a green line, a brownish reddish line, and a blue line. And once one of the lines has 4 cards, you immediately go to a score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's, do I go ahead and play and go ahead and score that so Andrea can't build it up anymore? Because it takes longer than you think to get 4 cards in that tableau, but at the same time, it goes really, really, really quick.
It does. Well, because it's a 2-player game, and it's just cards. And, I mean, you can lay them down quick if you've got them. If I had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I could lay them all down at once. And then really blow it away with points for that one color. I know it sounds dry and boring just being a card game about trains, but man, we've played the heck out of this 2-player. It's actually one of our favorite 2-player games, right up there with Patchwork.
Yeah. When I'm looking at the 2-player games, it's one of the top 3 I pick out.
Yeah, and we always have a good time. It's very competitive. You and I always have super close scores. We really enjoy this game.
A lot of times it comes down to if one of us was able to get a private score. Or I think they call it an extra tour.
Yeah.
And if somebody was able to get an extra tour, a lot of times that was the difference. But we always walk away having a good time. We shared this with Ben. That usually comes on our New Year's, episodes. He borrowed it and brought it back to me. He's like, I just can't get it played.
Yeah.
I said, well, are you headed home yet? And I think it was a night you couldn't make it out. And he said, I could stay for a minute. I immediately brought it out. I taught him how to play, and he goes, oh, can I have it for another week? And I said, absolutely. So he took it back home, taught his roommate, and then he brought it back. He goes, look, like this is good. This is really good.
It is.
That Trambahn is published by Lookout Games. Our copy was published by Mayfair, which is a company that went out of business, and I think somebody has their name and might be bringing them back. And it's designed by Helmut Ollie.
Nice.
That was the 4 in the 417. What do you think we should go on to the 1, the topic of the episode?
Yeah, we probably should.
All right, let's do that. Hey guys, I just want to take a quick second to invite you to come out and play some games with me and Andrea at Moon City Con. Badges are on sale currently at mooncitycon.com. We've already announced we have a pitch card tournament. We've got Battling Tops. Ben doing his Magic Commander night. Catherine's got some stuff planned. Everybody, we've already got over 60 tickets sold, which we're ahead of our pace last year. We're probably going to sell this. I hope we sell this sucker out. We're going to start announcing our play-to-wins and prizes in the coming weeks. So get your badges, and we'll see you at Moon City Con 2024 Undertow. The 1 in the 417Gamer podcast is our topic of the show, the topic of the episode. We're talking roll and write games. Specifically, we're talking about games where you have a random input and generally shared information that everybody draws from. So this is not necessarily dice, just dice. It does include those. It could be some of the games that you flip and fill. It could be some of the games where a piece is pulled and everybody's building from them. Just a quick couple examples of some of those. So Yahtzee is your traditional old school roll and write. Everybody's rolling, or somebody's rolling dice, and they're writing on their board something from that variable. One that has shared information is something. I'll go ahead and spoil one of my top 7 in the next is 30 rails. You roll some dice, and everybody's picking where to put that information on their board. Karuba is a game where one person randomizes their tiles to make paths in a jungle, and everybody places that exact tile. What else? Cartographers is a flip and fill, where you flip over a tile and then you color some pieces on your map. Second Chance, that was published or was designed by excuse me, Uwe Rosenberg. That's another flip and fill. You flip over, it's got a shape on it, you draw it in. So it's random input, sometimes shared, sometimes not. But I really enjoy these games because, in general, they generally towards the gateway or family weight.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're quick paced. And there's so many different themes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they kind of had a glut for a little bit there. The first big one that everybody kind of latched onto was Ganz Schön Clever, a.k.a. That's Pretty Clever. Mm-hmm. That is designed by Wolfgang Warsch, published by Stronghold Games. And then everybody seemed to be putting out a dice game. You have Raj of the Ganges, the dice game. You have Days of Wonder, who usually do these big production games like Ticket to Ride, really beautiful art, nice pieces. Mm-hmm. They put out one called Corinth. That one was pretty fun. But I really like... It's got everybody's attention to the table.
Yeah.
There's as much as the Lemma Euros, there's a lot of time you can just tune out until it's back to your turn.
Right.
I did some stuff, and I'm going in sleep mode while you guys take your turns. Most roll and writes, you can't do that. I mean, everybody's right there at the table. It's engaging. It's fast-paced.
Yeah.
And
I think, and I might be wrong, that it kind of levels the playing field a little bit. Where if you have someone who's not so great at, say, playing games, like for one of your Euros, it doesn't matter if you're the best player, roll the dice, you might not get a very good return. Whereas someone who might not be so good, and they might have a perfect roll and get... I just feel like it kind of levels the playing field a bit.
Yep. I also, it feels like it gives, especially the ones that have shared information that you're building off of. And maybe that's the way I probably should have put it. Everybody has shared information rolling right. Because Yahtzee, everybody takes their own turn and there's not shared information. That's Pretty Clever does both. Mm-hmm. You have an active player that does a thing, and then on the end of their turn, the rest of the table takes information from what they left, and they have shared information.
Right.
Where Yahtzee, I just do my turn, scribble in what I can, and then I pass the dice off to the next player. Mm-hmm. So, because in the 7, we're going to talk about our favorite roll and writes, or random writers, flip and fills. It's kind of a lengthy if I go, you can do this, flip and fills, and roll and writes, and random writes, and, tile fill ins. So just call it a roll and write, and it's a catch-all.
Sure.
So I think that's what we should... Maybe put that prerequisite on our top 7 coming into the next...
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Another thing I like about a lot of these, especially the roll and writes where they have pencils, is a quick and easy way to spruce up your game. Color pencils.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a few games where you have to color in pieces, or even if you're just drawing numbers, giving everybody their own color... color pencil.
Yeah.
Just spruces up just a little bit. That's a topic we'll talk about, in probably a few episodes. Sprucing up your games, blinging it out, putting cool stuff in there. We might even bring Catherine back because she's got some pretty sweet games that have some pretty cool components.
She does.
Andrea, anything you don't like about roll and writes?
I suppose it can be frustrating if you just needed that number 2 and it doesn't come up and you just feel so defeated because you couldn't get it. But that could be any game. You needed something to make your turn work and you didn't get it.
Is there an added level of stress that some people might not enjoy?
I could see that. As a matter of fact, I have, now that you mention it, listened to a couple of your friends say they don't like roll and writes or they don't like dice games because they don't have control.
Right.
And they're kind of at the mercy of the dice. And I could see that. That very factor that I like, someone, they dislike it. So I could definitely understand that, especially if you're a hardcore control freak, Yeah.
And I know on some of the smaller roll and writes where it's a pad of paper and you have a finite amount, some people would think it's a negative that it's not infinitely replayable unless you laminate the sheets.
Yeah.
But honestly, if I'm able to get enough games to go through 100 sheet page of pages, or a pad of pages, I think I got my money's worth out of that game, and I have no problem getting another copy of it. We're getting close to the end of one of our copies of Welcome, well, that's another one. Gangster and Clever, that's pretty clever. We're also pretty close to the end of Bricks, which is the Tetra-style game.
Yep.
And we've got one other that we are close to the end of the pad, and I have no problem, as long as it's still in print, buying another copy, because we played the heck out of them.
Yeah. And I know some of the games you can buy another pads for.
Sure. But Roll and Rights, what do you like? What do you not? Let us know. Head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. Comment on this show. Let us know what you think. Why don't we get into the 7, Andrea? We'll talk about our favorite 7 Roll and Write games.
I'm ready.
The 7 in the 417Gamer podcast is our top 7 in a given category. We're talking Roll and Write games, flip and fills, random writers. Just call it Roll and Write.
Yeah.
Andrea, I'm going to start us off, if you don't mind.
Please. Continue.
Hey. I'm going to go with Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall is... most roll and writes are pretty quick and snappy in 20, 30 minutes. Hadrian's Wall is about an hour. It's a lot of dice. There's some cards involved because you might get some troops to go on your board.
Yeah.
But one of the things a lot of roll and writes do are combo effects. I rolled a thing, so I got this that filled in a bubble that gives me a bonus to go here, that goes there. Hadrian's Wall is that on crack. Now, it is lengthy, and I do have to refresh on the rules or just ask Ben if he'll reteach it, because he likes the game quite a bit too. So there is that prohibitive part where it's a lengthy roll and write game, and I got to be in the mood to chuck dice for an hour, which is largely a solo experience. You've got your wall that you're building. I've got my wall that I'm building. Roll some dice, some information.
Yeah.
At the end, let's tabulate scores. Hadrian Wall is designed by Bobby Hill. The artist is Sam Phillips. It is published by Garfield Games. Andrea, you're number 7.
Bobby Hill. Sorry, I had to say it. My number 7 is Trails of Tucana.
Ooh, good one.
We have used this as a family weight game and a lightweight introductory game for at least a few members of my family. But it's not so light that, we don't enjoy playing it too. You have your own board where you're filling in your squares, depending on what cards flip up, where you're trying to connect your city.
Spaces on the island.
Yeah.
You have different ports on the edge of the island, different docks.
That's what they are.
And you're basically slashing through and building paths
through the forest
to different terrain points.
Yeah, to different little, monuments or animals that you're trying to find. And the more that you're able to find, the more points you get. And if you get your ports connected, there are bonus points that you get for that. It sounds, I don't know, it doesn't sound as I'm hearing myself drone on about it, as fun as it actually is.
Yeah.
We have really enjoyed it.
I will say, whenever you describe a lot of roll and writes, they're very dry.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, you want to play this game? What is it? You go through your little 5-minute not even 5 minute, like a 2-minute elevator pitch. We're rolling dice, or we're flipping cards, and we're going on an island, and we're putting a line down. And hopefully we might find a toucan or a bugbear.
Yeah, and then you put another line down.
Trust me. Trails of Tucana was published in 2019. It was designed by Christian Osmanatsby, Elis Finson, and published by Aporta Games. Andrea, your number 6
is Cartographers,
Yep.
A game that you referenced in our earlier topic of the week.
Another 2019 release.
Really?
Yep.
Another pad of paper that you're drawing on with your pencils as you are trying to make your connections by going around obstacles.
You're drawing maps of the countryside. And as a card flips out, it gives you the terrain type. So sometimes you find houses. Sometimes you find swamps. Sometimes forests.
And as you put those pieces on your map, this is where those colored pencils that you were talking about really come into. Because sometimes I've seen when people get their map done, they're so proud of their artwork, they want to keep it.
Well, how'd you do on your score? Don't worry. See how beautiful this is?
Look at these trees. Look how good they look. So that's another added fun to it. I think that people... if you're just, going for the points, have fun with it.
This is published by Thunderworks Games, designed by Jordy Adam. My number 6 is going to be Silver and Gold. Silver and Gold is a flip and fill, also from 2019. Remember when I said there was like a glut of a whole bunch of these?
You did.
I kind of got burned out for a minute. And I stopped playing a lot of them, except for the ones on my phone, which we'll get into one of those after a while. Silver and Gold was one that got pushed way to the back for me, and I didn't play it the year this came out. I didn't play it until, I want to say, was it 2020 was the last Branson Con? Mm-hmm. I had it on my shelf probably 8 to 10 months, and I didn't play it until Branson Con. And I played it the one time. Silver and Gold is designed by Phil Walker Harding, same person that designed Gizmos that we talked about in the one.
Oh.
Published by, I think this is published by Pandasaurus Games in the U.S. So, in Silver and Gold, this is a flip and fill. You're flipping over a card, and you're filling in on your cards with a dry erase marker. You're putting X's on your maps, and you're trying to discover treasure and fill up the maps. Mm-hmm. Trying to basically excavate all the island. You get points if you get... the little treasure chests on the cards, points, coins, points. Plays really good, pretty fun. The fact that the cards are dry erase cards, the markers are dry erase, and I think I left this game in my car in the hot sun most of the summer of 2020. And that fall, whenever we went to game, I pulled it out and we got to play it. No, 2020 we started going to pandemic. It was 2021. It was in my car for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Pulled it out the next game we went to, the Gaming Arts Media Expo, that is no longer with us, sadly. Pulled it out and played it and had a good time.
Yeah.
Now that brings us to number 5. We just talked about this with you. It is Cartographers. I love Cartographers. I'm glad I have it. I like the little promo cards. You play different seasons. You play spring, summer, fall, and winter. And each season, you get to pick less cards. And so whenever you surround a mountain, you get a coin. And then that coin is a coin you earn every scoring round. So if you earn that coin in the spring, you're still going to get that coin in the summer, the fall, and the winter. Also, most roll and writes... you don't really have to worry about people being mean to you.
Right.
But in Cartographers, you do. Whenever the purple beasts come out, it tells you what direction you have to hand your board to your neighbor. Mm-hmm. And they get to put a monster on your board in the shape that's on the thing. And if you don't get your monster completely surrounded by other shapes that you draw in there, they count negative against you for every side that's not covered. Mm-hmm. So you could have a monster on there that's hitting you for like -8, -10.
Yeah.
And you could have had a perfect board going, oh yeah, that's going to go there, that's going to go there. Goblin attack. Hand it to your neighbor. What? What'd you do?
And this is another thing where you can dress it up, make the monster look like whatever you wanted when you draw it on.
I just put frowny faces and hand it back.
You do.
Purple frowny faces. Andrea, you're number 5.
Well, my number 5 is Classic Yahtzee.
Yeah?
We played the heck out of this growing up. We played this, I think we played this more than any other game in existence in my family. If there's anyone out there who doesn't know what Yahtzee is, I'm so sorry.
My mom has a little handheld Yahtzee that stays in her car most of the time. She made Dad to go find one of those little computer screwdrivers to change her battery.
Oh. It's just good old-fashioned, you roll the dice, you fill in the squares on your board, you try and get the most points you can. I remember, when you finally roll that Yahtzee, all 5 dice come up in one number. Whoa, the whole table just explodes. Yeah. Oh my God.
and generally, unless you're playing with some people that are horrible sports, everybody's happy when they see it.
Yeah.
Even when there's like, oh, Yahtzee!
No way!
Yahtzee came out in 1956. It is designed by Edwin S. Lowe.
56. Yeah. That's crazy.
Andrea, you're number 4.
My number 4 is called My City.
Yes.
We've played this both ways. You can either play it in the just general one and done gameplay, or there's also a legacy version. Mm-hmm. And we've played both. We've played through the whole legacy campaign. But just the regular game itself, it's like you were saying about the flip and fill. You'll flip over a card and then you'll draw on your...
You put your tiles out.
You put your tile out in whatever fashion, whatever piece came up, flip, and everyone has to put the same one on their board.
Yep.
And it's fun to watch, even though everyone's using the same pieces on the same board at the same time.
Board's drastically different.
So different, and you're like, oh, I should have done that.
And you give people crap if they're copying you. What are you copying me for? Even though you're only on the second piece and there's very few other places they can put it.
Right.
That's exactly what I did.
Exactly. But no, it's a great fun game. We played it with heavier gamers, and we've also played it with lightweight gamers, and it's not a hard teach.
No.
And pretty nice.
That was designed by Reiner Knizia and published by Cosmos Games. My number 4 is Welcome To. Welcome To is published by Blue Cocker Games and designed by Benoit Turbin. In Welcome To, you are basically filling in a development, a neighborhood development. You've got 3 streets. Mm-hmm. On a turn, 3 cards will flip over. The 3 cards on the bottom will give you numbers. Those are the house numbers you can fill in. Over the top are powers that are tied to those numbers. Mm-hmm. White fences allow you to put fences along the street to fence in housing areas. Mm-hmm. Pools, if you select the correct house that has a pool, allows you to circle the pool and fill it in. So you get points for pools. Mm-hmm. What else? There is the development, the purple development ones. If you put those down, you're able to increase a developed property. So if it's a 2 property piece, a 3 property piece, they start at 2 or 3 points, and then you can fill them in. Now the 3 properties worth 4 or 5 or 6. Each block, you're supposed to fill in chronological from left to right. So if you get a 6 and then go up to 15, where are you putting the 6?
Well, it's not going to go smack dab in the middle.
Right. And if you go smack dab in the middle, what's the likelihood you're going to be able to fill all the way down to the left and all the way to the right?
Right.
So that is where you really start, kind of hurting yourself and hammering yourself in. There are fewer of the ends. There are fewer 1s and 2s and 3s and 15s, 14s, 13s as there are 5s, 6s, and 7s. Mm-hmm. Really enjoy this. This one is a little bit more than most roll and writes. It's definitely not the Hadrian's Wall.
Right.
But
it's pretty chunky. There's a lot going on. I wouldn't teach this to a first-time gamer.
Right. Somebody comes up for their second or third game, throw it out there and see how they do. Mm-hmm. But, yep, that's Welcome To. That brings us to number 3. My number 3 is That's Pretty Clever. This is designed by Wolfgang Warsch, published by Stronghold Games. This is one of the games that really spawned everybody going out there and making their roll and write, because That's Pretty Clever is that good. On your turn, everybody has a pad of paper that has 5 different regions of score. 5 different regions of scoring. It's got a yellow region, a blue region, a green region, a purple, and an orange. Each one scores a little bit differently. Yellow scores if you can fill in columns. Blue scores based on how many you've filled. But if you can complete rows or columns, you get bonuses that way. Mm-hmm. The yellow, you get bonuses if you fill out rows. The green is progressive. You have to put at least a 2 in the first box, at least a 3 in the next box, at least a 4, so on and so forth. Orange, doesn't matter. You get the sum. Purple is similar. However, the value always has to increase. And then once you put a 6 in, it resets and you can put as low as you want and keep on going. Mm-hmm. The cool thing is, a couple things. Whenever you play multiplayer, whoever the active player is, whenever they roll their dice, they're going to be able to cash in up to 3 dice. The first dice they cash in, they get to then re-roll anything that is equal to or less than what they cashed in. So if you rolled a couple 2s, a couple 3s, and a 6, you really, really want to put that 6 in because that's a high-value die, but then it leaves you nothing else, and you only got to cash 1 die in on your turn. Mm-hmm. That's a dumb turn. So, it makes you use your powers wisely, and it also makes you hedge your bets. Mm. You're like, ooh, I could be a little greedy and put a 3 in there, but that's only going to leave me 2 dice left.
Right.
Am I really going to get a good roll on 2 dice? Or I could roll stuff that I can't even place. Because,
Yeah.
I might have already have all the yellow filled in. If the yellow die pops up something that I've already filled in, I'm just up a creek. Mm-hmm. Up a Gamstone Creek without, the clever. Really like this. Plays really well. Plays quick. Mm-hmm. But even more so, this probably should be my number 1 as much as I played it on my phone.
Yeah.
I've had it since the app come in. I bought the alternate board as soon as it came out. And it is what's made me play all 4 versions of That's Pretty Clever, Twice as Clever, 3 times clever, and clever forever. Andrea, you're number 3.
My number 3 is also Welcome To, that you were just talking about. Yep. I will say that the first time I played this, wasn't really sure what I was doing because there was a lot going on. And I made the mistake of using a pen instead of a pencil to fill in my spots. And I would start to write something down and I'd be like,
shows confidence.
No, but then I'd start to write it down. I was like, oh no, it would be so much better over here. And I'm trying to scribble out what I did.
You lack a confidence.
No, I lacked a correct placement is what I lacked. So until you are more confident about taking your turns, I would recommend using a pencil with an eraser.
What?
Because I sure wish I had.
And it gives you the tiniest pencils.
It does. And no eraser.
No eraser. It's too small.
He says so small.
Number 2.
My number 2 is Bricks, which is Tetris on paper.
Yeah.
It really is. I swear to God. It is Tetris on paper, which makes me love it because I love Tetris. Everyone's using the same dice, basically. You'll roll a dice, and then depending on what it is what piece you get to put on your grid. Yep. And it's a Tetris grid, and there are Tetris pieces. You've got the long straight one, the little L, the cube, or the zigzag one. And whatever you choose, everyone has to put the same one on their board, and the active player gets to choose what everyone's going to play. Unless you have, as you fill in your board, you get little extra, what are they called?
They're like extra powers. I don't remember the exact name.
Yeah. An extra power or a wild, I guess you say, where you can move over another column, because all of the pieces are on a grid on your sheet, and you're saying I'm doing second column number 4, and
which could be the green L pointed the wrong way,
right? And if you use one of your bonus actions, you can shift over and use the L facing the other way, which fits on your board better.
In essence, it rotates your piece.
Yeah. But you can't do that. You can't rotate the piece unless you have that extra power.
Yep.
And if somebody calls it and you have to put it down, you just got to figure out a place to put it.
Which is funny because sometimes your pieces will be stacked in an awkward, and you're like, oh, I need to just come back to my turn so I can manage this because you guys are calling terrible, terrible pieces.
But yeah, if you like Tetris, I guarantee you're going to like bricks.
Yep. My number 2 is going to be 30 Rails. 30 Rails is actually a print and play that you can download for free on BGG. It is designed by Julian Anstey. One of the major things, the reason why I love this game, is one of our late friends, Brad Morton, printed me my own version. He printed it, laminated the pieces, and made a box that he printed the cover to and put it together. 30 Rails is you're putting railroad tracks on a gridded system to connect railroad stations. To start the game, you're going to roll some dice, and you're going to put some mountains in the middle of your board. Then you're going to decide where to put a mine, like a coal mine or whatever whatever you want to put your story into. Then you're going to put a bonus square in the middle of your board. Then when the game is started, you're going to roll dice. The dark die indicates it's 2 d6s. One's a dark die, one's a light die, or just whatever 2 colors you want. The dark die indicates what railroad track you can place, and the light die dictates you either have to put it in the column or the row because it's a 6x6 grid of squares. And so you have turns, you have straights, you have switches, you have Ys, you have double turns, which on each side. Trains can only go forward. They can't back up. So you have to remember that whenever you're making your connections, because if you're following the path and you're like, well, then I could go back this way. No, trains don't go backwards in this game. They have to go forward. I really like this game. I've played the absolute heck out of it. I probably printed off, 30, 40 sheets. Play this over and over. Then Brad just made me my copy.
Nice.
And I will never, ever get rid of the game. In fact, I'm probably need to break it out and play it again pretty soon. Because it's not one I bring out to Moon City Con anymore.
Right.
I love the people that come to Moon City Con, but that's one if
something happened to it.
Something happened, I'd be ticked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
But
it has special meaning.
Then there was one. My number 1 is the Guild of Merchant Explorers. This is a flip and put pieces on the board. Everybody has a map, and you flip over a card, and that dictates where everybody's going to be putting pieces on the board. It tells you what kind of terrain and all this stuff. And then each round, everybody's going to get their own power. Oh, come on.
Are you trying to look up when it was published?
Yes. Of course, my phone has to be slow at this point. Here it is, Guild of Merchant Explorers. Designed by Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert. Published by Alderac Entertainment Group. The Guild of Merchant Explorers, you shuffle the deck of terrain cards. You pull one out at a time. Each player starts with one city on their personal map. We all start with the same city, and then we start building out. As you're going out, you're then going to, if you completely fill in a terrain spot, you get to put out another city. Because at the end of a round, all your pieces come back off the board except for cities that you've put on the board. And when you restart the next round, you start from a city. You either start from the same city that everybody else did, or if you were able to complete a city out there, you can start from that one instead.
Yeah.
Which is really nice for building. So when you're going through, you're trying to... There's certain objectives we're trying to play, and there's different objectives for different maps that you're playing. You're trying to build out to the obelisks, because they give you points. You're trying to build across the ocean and get into the treasure chests, because they can offer you straight points. They can potentially allow you to collect different things for collection bonus at the end of the game. This absolutely could have been just pad and paper, where they flipped it over and you write stuff in. but they didn't. They gave everybody pieces to put on the board. If there was one little bitty knock, is it's very easy for somebody to smack the table just lightly and pieces vibrate out of their spot.
Yeah.
But that's a little quibble for this game, and it has a bland cover too. Mm-hmm. And this is a game I feel like should hit the table way more than it does.
Yeah.
But that is Guild of Merchant Explorers, published by Alderac Games. Which brings us to Andrea. Your number one is...
That's pretty clever.
It is pretty clever, huh?
I would say that this is one of the few games that I enjoy the solitary phone version more than the group game.
Do you?
I do. And I don't know why. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And the same game. Maybe it's because I want to go faster. Because when you play it solo, it goes very quick.
Oh, yeah.
Roll next, roll next, roll next. What's it going to be? What's it going to be?
I don't know. I played a couple hundred.
Almost like a slot machine. Next roll, next roll. See where I can put it. But when you're playing with a group, you have to wait for the other people to choose what dice they're going to play. And oh my gosh, when you're like, oh, come on,
I know what
up.
your best choice is. Why don't you pick your best choice?
But no, I like both. But I just slightly like it better on my phone versus the regular tabletop version. But no, I do like both though.
Those were our top 7 roll and write games. I know you might argue that some of them aren't roll and writes, but you know what? How about you go over to Instagram, to the Hobby Gaming Network Instagram, and let us know, what are your favorite roll and write games? What did we miss?
Yeah, something we should play? Tell us.
Why don't you catch us in the expansion to this episode? We're going to do another game review. We're not exactly sure just yet. I'm kind of on the fence of... We played Dwarf Romantic, and that's the reason why we didn't discuss it this episode, because I kind of want to play the game again a couple times.
Yeah.
It may be our review, but if we're also not feeling it, I'm going to be completely honest. I want to review games we enjoy.
Yes.
I don't want to just come in and just poo-poo a game. Mm-hmm. I mean, I might get Henri down the road and be like, oh, this was terrible. We need to talk about it. But I kind of, we have some games we didn't rate the highest, but I don't think we disliked the game. We liked them. We just
we've
calling out some things that,
right.
If a game has no theme, or the theme is very, very kind of, it's there, I'm not going to give it the best score for it, but I might absolutely love the gameplay.
Yeah.
But... So, join us for the expansion to this episode on the 20th, where in the 4, we'll talk about 4 things we're enjoying or looking forward to in the 417 area. Our one topic of the episode will be a game review. And the top 7, we may pick a different topic. Favorite green things. We are in March, aren't we?
We are.
And the 20th will be just after St. Patty's Day.
Oh, there we go.
Let's do our top 7 green things.
All right.
All right. We'll catch you next episode. Goodbye.
Come on.
The 417Gamer podcast was recorded and produced by Rick Bagwell and Andrea Smith. Our intro music, Kind, Gentle, Beautiful Person, and our outro music, Making Up for Lost Time, was created by Origami Replica. For links to the music and show notes, head over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hobby Gaming Network. Tune in to our March 20th episode, the expansion to this one. But until then, keep gaming in the 417.